Ray told me I never shut up, and she wanted to talk about something, and she never gets the chance. And I told her that's because all she ever says is, yeah, yeah, yeah. So tonight Ray's taking the reins because I talk too much, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love you. I'm just so being.
I love you too. You're pretty funny.
I'm being sarcastic, guys. You can't see the look on my face.
You can't.
But so, what's the topic tonight?
So, I wanted to go back to video games.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason being is because, like, I've been seeing a lot of people complain about, like, certain games not having events that are, like, level friendly.
Okay.
Or they miss certain...
explain what that means. That means, like, if you're on level 1, you've got to be, like,
A
and
level.
you try to go in and you're there, everybody else is a level 50 and you get your ass beaten 3 seconds flat.
That too, but
Okay.
it's more like you have those where you have to be a certain level in order to be able to do them. You have certain events, like Dead by Daylight used to have this event where you would have, like, these margarita machines or something like that, and it was like this really cool level friendly event.
Okay, it's a marketing ploy, you know that, right? You know why they
Why?
do that? It's because if you know you've got to be at that level, you're going to play like a motherfucker to get to that level to play that event, aren't you?
Some of us. Some of us are just...
Okay, so that's the mentality they're trying to reach. So actually, it's a pretty good marketing ploy. Right?
Right. Well, not only that, but, like, in my honest opinion, I think that having more level friendly, like, if you're a level 1, have, like, a lower level event for you.
Yeah, but do you know how much work that is? I mean, okay, we've had this conversation before, but this is needless work because how long is an event?
Well, that depends.
So you do groups of levels, but for every group of levels that you decide to do it for, you're going to have to make a separate game because it has to be harder because you can't have a level 50 going through a level 1 fucking... It would be pointless. It's a waste of your time. You wouldn't get enough experience.
Yeah.
And you just basically walk through anything that was in your way.
Okay, let's go back to what I was telling you about Dead by Daylight and how they had certain events going on. I like how they did it because it gave you more blood points, it gave you more opportunity to be like, hey, I gotta get this generator, but if I do it wrong, if I set it off, not only do I get this cool animation, like fireworks for the Chinese New Year and New Year's, and like stuff like that, where you like everyone can participate.
See, okay, and I've never played the game, but I've watched you play it, and I find that rather redundant. Gee, I'm escaping a serial killer. Let me go start a generator. It makes perfect sense, right? it makes perfect sense, right?
Well, it's not supposed to make sense.
Okay, but it is. Name me the purpose of having to start a generator when you're running from a serial killer. Is it attached to a flamethrower?
I wish.
Does it give you magical powers? Do you become like Ra, the sun god, and get to just flame his ass? I mean, what's the purpose?
Well, okay, for this game, all you do is you do Jennies. Yeah.
Jennies are what?
Generators.
Because you got people thinking some weird shit. We'd say, oh, you run it out of the game doing Jennies.
Well, we call it, in gamer lingo, it's called a Jenny, because generators...
Okay, but you have to specify that, okay?
You're funny. You're funny. Okay, and then there was this debate in my last class about cinematics in video games, and it reminded me of what you said about Resident Evil 6 and how you take a couple steps, oh, there's a cutscene. Take another couple steps, oh, there's another cutscene.
I wasn't even playing the game. That game played itself for the last half of the fucking game.
You know what I could have done?
Oh, here. I'm gonna give you a bunch of cutscenes until you gotta run from a fucking shark. Okay. And then I'm just gonna throw you into the game and not give you any fucking help.
Well, okay, you know what I could have done that would have made it harder and take more time? You have amateur, normal. I forget the other one, and then it's like veteran. And then there's like the highest level, which is no hope.
See, now you know what I think happened with Resident Evil 6? And oh shit, I better not say this, because, dude, I said that one thing about Crayola. Seriously, I said one thing about Crayola, and somehow miraculously they got my fucking email, and they're emailing me coupons for Crayola stuff. Sorry, Crayola.
You might as well say it.
No, okay, some Crayola stuff is great. It really is. And I grew up on Crayola. They were the best tasting crayons, right?
Crayola somehow found your email address.
Yes, they're literally emailing me coupons. I've got like 100 coupons from Crayola since I said that. And like, wow.
Maybe you can get me exclusive offer of merchandise for Resident Evil from Capcom.
No, they'll probably be like, God damn it. That's just one person's opinion. And
Well,
who gives
yeah.
a shit? Right?
Yeah. But that's also the thing, like, I've seen people complain about that.
Okay, what they did was they relied too much on said storyline and trying to fill gaps in where they created them with the movies, right?
Right.
So it became more a sequel to the movie than a video game.
Right.
Or another view of the movie to a video game. And half of that shit didn't even make sense. Where the fuck was any of that?
Well, that's why they break it up into different stories. Is you
Okay,
have
but where was
Ada's-
any of that? Like, seriously. Like, you got people wanting it to be like the movie, and the whole story was nothing like the movie.
Right.
So, you watch the movie and enjoy the movie, and I loved all of them except for the one in the desert. That one was pointless in my
Fixation.
eyes. Yes. And then the last one was long. I mean, it was cool to see the rest of the whole story, but it was long. It's not one you're going to pop in like the first one when you're doing something and just want to zone out, but you know it so well
Yeah.
that it's just like a comforting sound at that point. I don't know. You know how I get when I'm editing and shit. I listen to a movie is basically what happens.
Well, see, and that also brings me back to the whole events thing. Like, I've noticed people complain about that. You know what the funniest complaint I ever saw was, and it made me crack up because it was for Ark?
What?
They wanted to be able to mount the butterflies.
A what?
Mount butterflies in Ark Survival Evolution, that one game like that.
Okay, what does that mean? I'm thinking, okay, I used
Ride
to,
on butterflies.
Okay, because I used to collect butterflies, and that's what you do when you pin their little wings down. And then I found out how you have to do that, and I'm like, fuck you, I'll let them go. I just enjoy them for a while, and they can go free.
You gotta catch them alive and do it?
They have to be alive when you pin them. Because their natural instinct is for their wings to close when they die. And then if you try to pull them down, they break.
That sounds cool.
Dragonflies, when they die, though, are fucking impeccable. I was like, damn, dude. I found one on the way to work, and the cleaning guy decapitated it cleaning one day, and I flipped the fuck out. I killed my dragonfly again! Where's his head? Where'd this weird cinnamon roll come from? Sorry.
But no, like that was the funniest complaint I ever saw was people wanting to ride the butterflies in Ark.
Okay, so did they do it?
They didn't.
So enough people didn't say they wanted to be able to do it, and they didn't find it important enough in the game to do it.
Well, not only that, but they've moved away from that. They're far beyond that game.
Okay, well think about this, okay? And this is like a marketing thought, is that you can spend forever on a game, revamping it, extending it, revamping it, extending it, and only reaching a certain amount of people, or you can have a game that's good enough that enough people are like, fuck yeah, and then just keep putting out because you'll get another one in there that everybody's like, hell yeah, I like that. And then there'll be people that like this genre. Oh, hell yeah, I like that. So instead of just the revenue from one game, you've got revenue from all of these games that are hitting different markets. You get it?
Yeah.
Why do you think there's like a million fucking sports games? Who are the majority of the people that are playing these games?
People who love sports.
That is their biggest bread and butter right there.
Ah, I get it.
Well, think about how fanatical people are about their sports, and oh my god, I could play my sports team, and I can do better than them. I've heard it all. Oh my god, fucking men in their video game sports are fucking horrible.
I remember one year we predicted the Super Bowl just by playing a sports game.
Yeah, the only reason I go to any Super Bowl party is to drink and eat. Fuck that shit, I don't even care.
Oh, the best Super Bowl party. There was an Xbox 360 involved. And all of us playing war games.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, people I was hanging out with actually watched it. I don't get it. I used to like baseball, but that's because I learned the technical side of it. And I got to see one of the coolest things in history, and that was badass. And that was before I carried a camera with me everywhere, so there's no pictures of it, but it was in the newspaper, and the guy that did it was in the major leagues the next week, which was fucking badass. And we used to sit right behind home plate, right down close, and you could see the people, the scouts, and they had these little radar guns to see how fast the pitches were being thrown.
Yeah.
Yeah. You see, that's what you got to think about with people, though, is the little intricate details like that, right? Because if enough of those are right, the little bit bigger ones that are just an annoyance will get overlooked. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. See, and, you know, that leads me to the other thing, too, is that, like, I've noticed, and a lot of people have actually complained about it, so they've been trying to, like, amp it up, but the horror genre, it's gotten to the point of they rely so much on cliche stuff like jump scares and...
Well, that's because people don't appreciate horror the way that we used to. I mean, fucking glittery vampires. Seriously. Seriously.
Edward Collins!
Fucking Bela Lugosi died 1,000 times with that. I swear to God. He came back, tried to get out, and couldn't. He's like, fuck that glittery fucker. Right? Sorry.
Goodness. But horror isn't how it used to be.
It isn't.
But glitter.
Thank you. Thank you. I know who that is.
Yes, you do.
But now, if you think about it, the problem is And I've said this before, I will say it again. If you have a blueprint and you know how it works, that's half of the battle right there. You just have to build on that and tweak it to you. The problem is people don't have original fucking ideas anymore. And after Resident Evil, they basically just fucking gave up. They're like, that's our coup de grace. Fuck y'all that like horror. Right?
Right. And Mr. Tubbs says there is not enough fire to fix Twilight. There really isn't.
Hey, I always get to mark myself safe of even, well, I know a little bit of the story, but I've never seen it, and I've never watched it. I've never read it. What I was disappointed in is they only did one Aragon movie, because that was an amazing series of books. And I don't think for an instant that kid, you could see where one of his parents took over, because it became a fucking thesaurus instead of a story. Sorry, I couldn't help myself, but you could. I would be reading a page, and I'd have to go back and read it over. I'm like, what the fuck was he trying to say here? I'm like, wow, dude, set the thesaurus down. We're okay. You know, it's funny. I even edit books when I read them. I'm like, that word doesn't belong there. That's a misspelled word. What the fuck?
So, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Segue.
No, you're good.
See, you're really not chatting it the way you should be, so we're segueing to give you...
Well, Aragon was also made into a video game, and the video game was a little fun.
Okay, well, that's good. That's actually really good.
Another...
I don't think I will ever read the last book.
Did you know that the Silent Hill video games, Fatal Frame video games, and I forget the third one, but those two are the top 1 and 2 video games of all time?
Yeah. Fatal Frame was pretty fun. But then again, I'm biased as hell when it comes to shit like that. I was like, oh my god, a game where you get to be a photographer. Fuck yeah.
And you're shooting ghosts.
Well, it didn't matter what I was shooting. I just get to shoot something, right? I'm like trying to take pictures of the walls and the kimonos, and they're like, no, bitch, you can't do that. I'm like, come on. It's pretty. I got the right angle on it. And that light is creepy as fuck.
I will never forget watching you play. It was the first Fatal Frame, because it had the floating head that attacked you.
I thought it was 6.
Nope, there's only 5 Fatal Frames.
Okay, so maybe it was. I don't remember, honestly.
There's the Himuro Mansion, the Lost Village.
And that game kind of fucked me up. I was like, dude,
I forget what Torment's
really
about. Made another Blackwater, and then Lunar something. Lunar Mask. Oh, and Camera Obscure on the not 360, the 3DS.
Yeah?
I would love to get a DS again, just to play it.
Nice.
Wow, I memorized all of it.
You're so surprised. Wow.
No,
You're so cute.
the only game series that I can name all the games in and have you not look at me like, oh, there's a bunch of numbers there.
Numbers what? You lost me. Did that
Yeah,
just fly out the window?
See, you have to think of it this way. You also have, like, with Resident Evil, you have Resident Evil Director's Cut, Resident Evil Ultimate Director's Cut, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 1.5, which is the one with Elsa Walker in it, and it's Biohazard 2, which is the unreleased version of it. That was only released in one country.
I think we figured out what Ray really I don't know how that would be anything anybody would ever be able to decipher up to this point.
Yeah.
So, okay. Let's take this in a different direction, okay? Because I'm sure that's... Okay, that's impressive, yes, okay, but I don't think people want to sit and listen to a million game titles. And I remember this one. Okay, but hang on. So,
Exciting.
these games that stand out to you, what is it about them that makes you want to memorize their name? Because that's what you need to know.
Well, if we're being technical about it,
We're being everything. I'm talking the whole shebang. I'm not talking microchasms. I'm talking how does it all fit together to make you want to remember the game so much that you're proud that you remember the names of all of them.
okay, let's start with one that has a remake that I am like
And bit and piece it.
mad at.
Put the puzzle together. Let's see it.
Okay, so first, I'm going to tell you I'm mad about them redoing Resident Evil 2. So if you ever bring that game up with me, always talk about the 1998 version, or I will literally get mad at you and be like, no, I do not like that version. That is not my cup of tea. Reason why I didn't like it in the original, and this is part of why I like it. At first it gives you a challenge. You have to get around these zombies. Oh, Tevin says I thought it was a great remake.
Okay, and everybody's entitled to their opinion, right?
Yeah.
We all like things for different reasons, and you need to respect that
Right.
about people.
In the beginning, they give you this path that you have to follow. And what I've always liked about it is there was always this challenge with you have to switch your controller to whatever controls suit you best, and I always did controller type C.
Okay, so the controls. Okay, we talked about this before. Let me backtrack you a little bit here. This is a good segue, okay? Remember, one of the things that you said before about what you liked about the first game was that it was a directed game, but also an open world game, right?
Right.
So how many of the games retained that?
I think they stopped at 5? No, 4.
Okay, and where
It was
was the
fun.
drop off of people playing it?
It was about 5.
So they didn't like the new stuff they were doing.
No.
That's what that tells you.
Well, I saw a lot of people liked Raccoon City. Horde of Lickers!
Okay, but that's the thing, is that there are going to be people that like it. So what they're doing is they're tailoring it. So I'm assuming that the remake that they did is in the fashion of the later games.
Yeah.
Okay, so what that tells you is that the people liked the later games enough to want a remake of one of the earlier games in that fashion. And that
Well,
is
they
why they
remade
do
2 of
that
them.
in marketing. Okay, so that is exactly why they do that. Is enough people were like, fuck yeah, I like this, that they went back and did it so that they could play it in that fashion. Yeah, this is good stuff to think about, because if you're changing, you can change your marketing, you can shift your marketing at any time. All you need to know is your target audience and how to fucking reach them. So if the game is dropping off anyway, which you probably noticed with the game before,
Yeah.
okay, and that's why you revamped it, is because of the drop-off. So you go back a step, okay, and that's where you want to look, because that's where things fell off. And then this is them trying to fix that fall off, and they found another following and enough people that liked it from the original ones to make more of them.
Yeah.
So you see the marketing reasoning behind that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so go ahead.
Well, but the other thing I like about it is that, along with the story, okay, the 1998 version, you know that really long beginning you have where you gotta run through the zombies, go into the pawn shop?
Yeah, where most people gave up on the game because it was too hard and you didn't know what the fuck you were doing. And that one zombie always got a hold of your fucking neck.
Yeah.
Yep. I know that game very well. Thank you.
But I liked how the map was laid out.
That was a good map. That was definitely a good map. I liked the police department. That's the one, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the one I really like. I wasn't real fond of the one for Nemesis. It was too confusing, and you couldn't get to most of it.
Yeah.
And fighting Nemesis in those little streets was a fucking nightmare.
Yeah. They actually fixed that in the remake.
Okay, well that was stuff that irritated me. I mean, yeah, we had fun playing it because every time it came around the corner, I'd scream and throw the controller and everybody'd laugh, but, you know, right on.
You know what my fondest memory is?
Like,
You and me sitting on the couch when I was fighting the liquor horde in Operation Raccoon City, and you were just like, ah, it's a horde of liquors!
see, and you didn't believe me about the liquor in the library.
Yeah.
I played that game a lot. I liked that game. Well, the thing is that it gave you several options of how to play it. So I played both stories because I wanted to see both sides of the story. Okay, so that is one advantage of doing the dual disc, is that, you know, if you like the first disc, you're definitely going to play the second one, right?
Right.
And then...
Because you gotta see how it ends.
Exactly, or you want to see it from the other side. Okay, let's talk about the show that we watched tonight. This would be a perfect example of it.
Oh, goodness.
It was called Clickbait. And I tend to try to watch some of the newer stuff that looks kind of obscure. And so I tried to watch it right when it first came out, and I got like an episode and a half into it, and then it just was too chaotic to watch it. But we sat down and watched it tonight. I'm not giving any spoilers. But think about how they did that. The style that they did this show in was one of the ways that I really like them to film things, and it's really a pretty cool concept. And that's that every episode is somebody else's point of view of the same situation. Right?
So it's kind of like, yeah.
And that is something that people like. Well, you know, this side of it, because people are starting to see, hey, you know what? There might be more to this than I really thought. And aren't those the people that you want, the curious people that are trying to learn things?
Yeah.
Know your audience.
That's one of the biggest factors in it.
Huh?
That's one of the biggest factors in
That
it.
is the only factor in it. If you have a wild-ass marketing plan that doesn't target anybody, who are you selling to?
Well, that's part of what I'm saying. That's one of the biggest ones you're gonna need to know.
Well, you always
Like-
figure out who your target audience is. And it doesn't mean that you can't have different merchandise for different groups of people.
You're right.
Because isn't that your job to cater to what people say they want, or think they want, or tell them what they want?
Yeah.
Can you imagine the power to tell people what they want?
You want a candy cane.
No, I don't mean by that. I mean being a company and getting it so well known that just your name on it makes people want to buy it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And that's how you have to think, is how do you get to the point where just your name on it makes everybody want to buy it? And all this research you've done is what's going to get you there. But you have to understand that this research is ever evolving. Because everything is ever evolving, right?
Right.
But you have a chance to push that evolution in a direction you wanted to go. And that's the way you need to think about it. See, that's the problem. People think smaller than they really should. Okay, sky's the limit. Is it really?
Mm-mm.
There's galaxies out there, and you're telling me the sky's the fucking limits.
You know, that's me actually thinking. Because now that we're actually talking about marketing.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to steer it, but we're talking in regards to your video game, so this is actually what you need to know.
It is, and it's helpful. But you got me really thinking on, you know, my target.
You're what? You're what now? Wah 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 wah. All right, Sally. I love you.
Well, okay, you were telling me that it should be "Can you survive?" And then it evolved from that to Haunted Soil. And now, you know what I finally think I'm gonna title it?
What?
Skinwalker Edition, Haunted Soil, Can You Survive?
And that's actually not, well, okay. It could be the Can You Survive series, right?
Right.
And then you go through your things. So your whole series name is Can You Survive? And that's also becomes part of your marketing ploy. I bet you can't survive a night in the woods with a fucking skinwalker. And do like a test game where it's only a night and then throw them into a game where it's 30 days.
No, because they'd be like, what did I just step into?
Exactly, but they're like, what the fuck? Those two, oh, what the fuck, dude? And yeah, make them do like real survival stuff in there. Because you might as well take it as an opportunity to teach them. One day you're going to hear, dude, I used to play this really fucked up video game, and the only reason I survived 30 days out in the fucking middle of the forest in the fucking snow was because I played the fuck out of this game. I don't know. You never know. Anything is possible, right?
That's what we've been trying to do too, is like teach people.
Exactly.
And you know what, you're right. With maybe the thing that I thought hard about with them was what I want to teach people. And I want to teach them about mental health awareness.
You're going to fuck people up with that storyline. You know you are.
Oh, yeah.
And little tidbits we put in there that we haven't told everybody, so they'll still have some surprises if they've listened to it.
Just trust us, you're going to be like, what the actual fuck?
Well, this is where you go back and make the little tweaks and stuff, and then we're going to start storyboarding it out here pretty soon.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
And then we're going to pick a place to start, and we're going to form the rest of the story. Because basically we've got a skeleton, right?
Right.
Now it's time to put some tendons and some veins and some nerves. Should we give it nerves?
It might get on our nerves if we give it a
I
nerve.
know. And we got some fun surprises in there. I like my little contribution. I hope it scares the shit out of people and it isn't a jump scare.
I hope so too.
Oh, and we changed the dog.
The dog is not going to be a greyhound anymore.
No.
We actually thought long and hard about that one.
No, it's going to be Coda.
That's what I was about to say.
Yes, he was a good enough dog to get himself to get to be the creepiest thing in a video game. But if you knew that goofy dog, you'd totally understand why I want to do it.
And it has to be just like.
Man, if you ever saw that dog in the woods, he was in heaven. And he was just like gone. He was so fast. And you just see this little whitish black streak go through the fucking trees and shit.
Is the dog okay?
I don't know. You can't decide either, so I guess that's a good thing. Maybe.
Okay.
You never know, he might start mouthing off any second.
If we have to turn the microphone off, you guys, I'm sorry.
But yeah, so we thought we'd pay homage to a really good dog and give him a little bit of eternal life here. And even if nobody knows who it is, I know who it is. And
That's all that matters.
yeah, because that means that Mom's just going to have a side game that she makes that's just the dog, so Lonnie can play with it.
You know, I want to buy a VR headset and do it in VR.
That would be creepy as fuck, actually.
Not as scary as the hologram deck thingies.
Now, part of it is that you could use it as a learning tool because it's a comforting sight to her and it puts her at ease. And that's part of why I suggest something like that, is because it's something that she's familiar with.
You know. Yeah.
And that tends to be very important to her. That's why we got another blue heeler, even though she's white, was because familiarity. And it's her service dog, so how's she going to trust it if it doesn't look like Coda?
You have a point there. We totally just like segued the whole conversation.
It's all good. You're like, wow, that's cool. I told you. And you said you were going to be a dick to me, and you did exactly what I told you were going to do. I don't know. I'm just thinking. Yes, well, you're supposed to be speaking. Blah, 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 wah, wah, wah,
So,
what?
we've also been working on another game. We were talking about doing the salt mine. Well, I wasn't thinking there was a type of salt flame
Yeah.
that's considered a salt mine.
Yeah. But she did learn how they collect salt and do what they do to it because, well, it's like, hey, do you understand where salt comes from? It's like, look up Salt Mine Africa. And y'all should. It's actually pretty fucking cool.
It's
You may
real
never
fun.
eat salt again, but it's pretty cool how they fucking do it.
That's funny. You might not ever eat salt again.
It was in a documentary I was watching. And I was like, that's pretty cool, but that looks like it's really muddy. But they collect it and they build it into these pillars and let it dry.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty cool. It's not as cool as a guy who's shunning his way through an elephant, but...
That was out there.
Okay, well the thing is that, okay, something I learned in biology class because I got upset about dissecting cats. Of course I did. I was like, I don't want to touch that thing. I find this cruel. And well, I was a mouthy little bitch at 14. I'm just saying. And the teacher sat me down and she's like, okay, do you know what the difference between dissection and mutilation is? In dissection, you learn something.
Mutilation, you're just doing it to do it.
Pretty much. I mean, you're learning, but not like not like the way we did. And my partner wouldn't touch it, so I learned everything, and she had to throw my test out for anybody in the room to pass the test. 'Cause I was fascinated by it. I was just like, oh, that is the coolest fucking shit ever.
When we dissected baby pigs, I was able to jump up with the small intestine and got extra credit.
That's pretty gross, but cool. Pretty good.
Oh, I even got extra credit because out of everybody, because I was so used to playing in the dirt, I was the only one who wasn't scared to do it without gloves on. Because it was just the first day we were making the incisions and draining the formaldehyde out of them.
Yeah, man, how the hell did we get on Dead Animals? What the hell? That was me, I know.
Segway.
Segway.
The shark was really cool. We got one that was
we didn't
pregnant.
get to do that. We got to do a cat and a frog, and only one of our pissed frogs survived the night. So and it was cool watching the heartbeat on the watch plate. But you know me and animals, so I really kind of had a problem with it. Well, I thought it was cool, I still just didn't think it was right. Because that was a living animal. And we just decided to scramble its brain so we could look inside of it, and it didn't feel it. Yet it can breathe through its skin, so that's how they stayed alive overnight. Yeah, I don't believe that for an instant. And you never know. Maybe you scrambled it wrong, and its pain sensories are like amplified, and you're just like, this thing wants to scream, but you fucked up his vocal cords. You know?
I've dissected way too many things in my lifetime. We've done sheep eye, chicken wing.
You know what the scariest thing for me is? The reason I can cut a chicken the way I can is because I dissected a cat. Well, no, because it makes sense. If you get it at the joints, there's nothing there but some tendons that you got to get through, and you can go right through it without cutting the bone. So, and then there's the stuff that holds the skin on, and if you just kind of tap it, it'll pull the skin right off of it, and
That's why you know how to cut a chicken the way you do.
Yeah, that's why I know how to cut a chicken the way I do. Because I sure as fuck didn't learn it on the farm.
Oh, goodness. I always love your farm stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goodness. Yeah. Yeah, I loved the farm out there. That was like... It was simple, and I loved it. And that's what I loved, was it was simple. And I got to spend lots of time out in the barn with the animals. And the only animals I didn't like were the fucking geese. They were mean as fuck.
Mean geese, huh?
Dude, they're fucking assholes. And they will chase you, and they're big.
I have to play with their goslings, aren't they?
Yeah.
I have to play with some.
I did too, until their mom caught wind.
Hey, Mom, tell us how you collect duck eggs.
No, it's the geese eggs, you gotta kick them. And I was mortified when my uncle showed me that. I was like, I can't get her off her eggs. He's like, watch this. And he walks in there, walks right up to her, and goes, boom. I'm like, ah!
Hey, Mom, guess what?
What?
Boo.
Dude, that was the craziest shit ever. I could never survive on a farm though, because I just couldn't let the animals.
Poor baby.
My uncle used to say I was soft. Because I grew up in the city. I said the city had nothing to do with it. I was like, I just like animals. They're cool and they listen. And they're soft. Some of them. Yeah, I would not suggest trying to hug a goat. Especially when they're pissed off.
Oh, I'd love to hug a goat.
See, that's my problem. That's why I could never be a very good wildlife photographer and actually be around, like, a bunch of animals. Because I'd be like, oh, I just want to touch it. Can I pet it? It's so cute. Can I just give it a hug? Why are you squeaky toying me? Why are you squeaky toying me? I didn't poke you.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. I didn't poke him.
Yes, you did.
No squeaky toys.
Squeaky toy.
I don't get it. Can you imagine this gigantic dog sitting there making squeaky toy noises at you?
I can.
I just think it's amusing. And then the little dog barks like loud as fuck.
Little dog and big dog.
Yes, little dog and big dog.
It's like a small adventure.
Why is your dog squeaking at you?
I don't know why he's squeaking at
What
me.
did you do to him? Why is he squeaking?
I don't know.
Poor baby. Now he's all mad at me because I told him to stop squeaking. Why the fuck are we talking about the dog?
Because you segued us into the squeaky toy.
No, because he's squeaking. He's squeaky. Oh, you're squeaky. So,
you know, it's really cool.
Antarctica? Oh, Greenland. The island off of Greenland that just appeared out of nowhere and is like fucking huge now. What? Siberia? What? Tell me.
Game shaders.
What are game shaders?
It's how you color in your scenes and stuff like that.
Okay. They're cool, huh?
Yeah. You can do transparent, you can do metallic, regular.
Okay. Yeah. The gray is fading. We were gonna do a short one tonight anyway. At least she doesn't have that get the fuck out of my stream look. She's just kind of like, yeah, I think I'm done. Fuck the outro. I'm just gonna go. Click. No, don't do that.
Come on. There you go. It's this one.
Yep, see? I guess that's my cue.
That is your cue.
Well, see, now you don't have to give me that sour look anymore.
No, I got classwork on the mind.
That's okay. So say goodnight.
Alright, everybody. Hopefully you had fun listening to us. Thank you for coming out and watching our stream. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great night, morning, day, whenever you see this.
Good night. Much love, y'all.
Much love.